Hello and welcome to another edition of Son of Kaiju Review. I'm Protomet.
I'm Tank.
And today we will be taking a vacation in the South Seas. Because today we'll be talking about...
Ebirah.
Horror of the Deep.
Horror of the Deep, yeah.
Also known as Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. I gotta give him credit. Bold decision to name a Godzilla movie and not include Godzilla in the title.
Yeah.
This came out after Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, but before Son of Godzilla, both of which we've talked about before.
Yep.
And it also has Mothra in it.
Yes.
She's kind of there.
She's there. She's just chilling.
There is a bit of an interesting backstory behind this movie, but we'll talk about that at the end of the podcast, because it's perhaps the most surprising part of this. But the film basically is about this one guy, Ryota, deciding to steal a boat to look for his missing brother.
Yeah.
And dragging a couple of guys he met at a dance contest along for the ride.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Also a bank robber.
Mm-hmm. So they're on the boat. Yep, they're on the boat. Then the boat doesn't the boat crash on
Litchi Island.
Litchi?
It gets caught up in...
Like a hurricane or...
It gets attacked by Ebirah, actually.
Oh.
And crashes... They wash ashore on Lecce Island, where they discover that a terrorist organization called Red Bamboo is on the island. And that they're using a certain yellow liquid to keep Ebirah at bay.
So it comes from some type of berry that's on the island, I guess.
Also, it turns out the Red Bamboo have been kidnapping the islanders from Infant Island to basically turn them into slave labor. It's horrible.
Very much so. Very terrible.
They end up the castaways end up encountering one of the islanders who manages to get away. Dio.
The girl?
Yes, and they kind of do some investigating, find out what the Red Bamboo are doing on the island, and discover that Godzilla is also on the island.
He's napping.
Yeah. Eventually, at some point, the group kind of gets separated. One of the two guys from the dance contest gets captured by the Red Bamboo. Ryota gets stuck on a weather balloon that drifts all the way to Infant Island, where he finds his brother Yatta. And he tells the islanders about the situation with all the captives.
Yeah. Which,
of course, then gets the Shobijin to inform Mothra. Also, first movie in which the Shobijin are not portrayed by the Peanuts.
Yeah. There's a scene where the natives are being forced to, make this yellow liquid they're forced to be slaves.
Yeah. There's no getting around that.
Yeah.
All for industrial capitalism. Some such.
I can't remember much from this movie. I'm sorry.
Dio, the bank robber, and the other dance contest guy, they find themselves in a cave that happens to have the sleeping Godzilla, and they use some copper wire that Dio stole from the Red Bamboo, as well as a sword that they found on the island, to basically make a lightning rod to wake Godzilla up. Because, as we all know, Godzilla is so closely associated with electricity.
And that was just that one time. He became a magnet.
That's in a later movie. But so they wake up Godzilla to try and use him against the Red Bamboo, because the Red Bamboo have no idea that Godzilla's there.
Yeah. The Red Bamboo are evil.
Yes.
Um,
stuff happens.
Honestly, guys, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie.
Neither am I. Godzilla gets a crush on Dio for some reason.
Yeah.
Then kind of goes on a rampage,
Okay.
which wrecks the Red Bamboo place.
Mm-hmm.
Ryota and Yada. Ryota finds his brother on Infant Island.
Yep.
And they head back to the Red Bamboo Lecce Island to inform everybody. Because Mothra's coming to save him.
They build a basket.
One of the Red Bamboo scientists activates the facility's self-destruct sequence, which the main protagonists try to shut off but are unable to, so they have to hoof it.
Because there's debris that crushed the scientist from the Red Bamboo and
Block the way to the activation device.
Yep. They try to each time they get closer, the device slowly retracts.
It's like, oh yeah, way to make it harder to.
Yep.
Godzilla fights Ebirah in a pretty good fight scene.
Yep. They fight more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, Godzilla fights a giant condor.
Mm-hmm. I remember that from this movie. It's like,
maybe that's the one we're thinking of.
Godzilla fights the condor.
Yeah, maybe that's what we're thinking of. And then he fights Ebirah.
Mm-hmm.
Mothra swoops in and saves everybody with a makeshift net that they put together.
Yep.
And then Godzilla leaves, and the Red Bamboo is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were going to do a lot more with this movie. But then I remembered that this is one of the movies that I sometimes put on to try and get to sleep.
I don't care for this movie.
Yeah, it's an okay film, but it definitely would have been better had it been produced in the way that it was originally intended.
Not being a Godzilla movie?
Yeah, no. It turns out this movie was actually originally supposed to be a King Kong movie, which makes way more sense.
Like the random scene where Godzilla is staring at the girl, kind of erotically.
Not ironically, like he's got a crush on her or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was written for King Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the whole Red Bamboo storyline, that was for a sequel to SP.
So they just put 3 movies together.
They combined a couple movies that they had, put them together, and
just switched out the monster.
Admittedly, they weren't allowed to use King Kong because Rank and Bass currently had the rights to that.
Okay.
And they would only allow Toho to use Kong if they had made a movie that was more closely based on the cartoon series that they were producing. Which, fair enough. I mean, we got King Kong Escapes out of the deal, so that's not bad, too.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why this movie kind of feels like an oddity in the Godzilla franchise.
It is an oddity in the Godzilla series. I just don't know. The plot was not very good.
I'm willing to forgive a lot of it because I understand that this wasn't supposed to be a Godzilla movie. So I don't have as much hate for it as you seem to have. I mean, not like you're raging against it.
It's a bore.
Yeah, this is one of the movies that I would put on to put myself asleep, along with Son of Godzilla, All Monsters Attack.
It's not even that long of a movie, but due to it being me thinking that it's boring, it feels like it takes forever.
And that's a bit fair. I mean,
yeah,
this definitely doesn't feel like a Godzilla movie.
No. Well, it does when Godzilla finally does show up, but...
And the reason we never covered this for like something like Mothra Month, despite Mothra being in the movie, is because she's barely in it.
Wow, 2 or 3 scenes max, I think.
Roughly. She just kind of shows up at one point to introduce the fact that Mothra's in the movie, and then
Like,
to leave Infant Island, and then right at the end to save everybody from the island.
Yep. Oh yeah, Godzilla jumped in the water before the explosion. Like the radiation probably wouldn't affect him at all, though.
I mean, if it were King Kong, then it'd be a different matter, but...
Yeah.
So yeah, this went by a lot quicker than I thought it was going to.
This is a very poor version of a podcast, but...
Admittedly, we are kind of tired from filming another video.
Yeah, that too.
So maybe that's why we're a bit blasé about this. But I think this movie is fine for what it is. It would have been better had they used Kong instead of Godzilla. But there's no getting around the fact that they just couldn't get the rights to Kong.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. So
they did have the rights to Godzilla, so threw him in.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's worth checking out.
Yeah, at least give it a watch.
Yeah, it's far from the worst Godzilla movie. I mean, one would argue that the next movie that came out was, but we've already talked about that.
Yeah, we did. But after reading the big book of giant or
Japanese giant monster movies,
yeah, then actually reading what the script was supposed to be like, it would be much more. It would have been more interesting,
for sure.
But there's no saving this one. So,
at least not in your eyes. I mean, it's fine for me.
Well, I respect that it exists. That it just.
I think Ebirah has a pretty interesting design.
Yeah, Ebirah does have a
giant lobster. I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah, just a big old claw.
Actually, it's a giant prawn, not a lobster. But I mean, it's easy to assume that he's a lobster because
well,
you see a giant red thing with two big claws.
Yep. You think it'll be a lobster? It's definitely not a crab. We've seen crabs.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Me neither. Well, at least we got past. Well, we're not even to an hour, but
I'm not even close.
Nope. We don't have anything else to say. So, I'm Tank.
I'm Protomet.
See ya.
Bye.